Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Matt Novak. Alongside me, as always, Grant Hawker.
Always, let's do it.
Grant is missing some hair today. That is quite noticeable from last week.
Yeah.
With us on the third mic, Jameson DeFore.
Nothing but pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's been a brutal 10 days, my friend.
yeah, Jameson and I are not wearing team gear today for obvious reasons. You're on the clock here today. We got a lunch break, middle of the work day.
If they would have won, I would have wore something. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes.
I hear that. Would we say there's a strong consensus that when your team loses an important game, you ignore, like, you're not watching Pat McAfee that Monday, right? Like, you're not. I'm ignoring socials.
To any of my favorite shows. Actually, as a matter of fact, so I was gone last week, not because the Rams lost, but I flew to the East Coast and came back, and my jerseys were still crumbled up in the same ball on the guest bed that they were before I left, and so I picked up my Nakua jersey, threw it on yesterday, and then took it off halfway through the game, put it back where it was.
Believe it was when the score said 21-0
at halftime.
Yep. That was...
Yeah, at that point I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go play PGA Tour 2K25 and put that up off to the side. And if they do something interesting, then I'll come back to it. But
there you go.
And they made it interesting.
But yeah,
it made it interesting. It was definitely an interesting weekend. That was nuts. Genuinely craziness happening all over the place. We feel like we're saying it every week here this year. Just why did that happen? This makes no sense. Make it make sense.
We haven't had this conversation. I was beginning to bring it up maybe end of the year, but we'll bring it up now. It's pretty much the end of the season. Is this one of, if not one of the greatest NFL seasons like ever? Just think of every week it's giving us like a game of the year candidate. This week it was obviously the Bears, Niners. Last week, Rams, Seahawks. Week 1 was like that Ravens-Bills game, which feels like 10 million years ago at this point. Yeah. The Packers-Bears a couple weeks ago. Both of the Packers-Bears games were crazy. I just feel, I know I'm blanking on a couple. Oh, the Bears comeback on the Bengals was nuts. Like, I just feel like there's so many games that could be game of the year contenders. Like, NFL script writers, you did yourselves good this year. This feels like a good year.
Yeah, we talked about, especially during the middle part of the season, like the log jam that was like in some of these divisions. And like, obviously the log jam has kind of separated itself a little bit, but it turned out to be that there were just like way more good teams than there were like mid teams. Like I think there's 11 teams right now that are in double digits before we get into week 18 in the regular season. Multiple divisions that have 2 or 3 double-digit win teams. Obviously, the NFC West is like a nightmare right now. You're going to have the Rams, who are probably going to be like 12-5 by the end of the regular season. They're going to be like a 6 seed.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen. And we're going to have 2 wild card teams that are both going to win 12 or 13 games in the NFC West. It's ridiculous. And it's been an insane year because of that. And fortunately, because there were some situations where we could have resolved these divisions before week 18, and then week 18 might have been one of those, like everybody's going to rest their guys kind of weeks or whatever, or it's going to be some toilet bowls. But now we have a
lot to play
really
for.
Good matchups coming up, and it's made the crazy like game of the year season that we've had. Like, we get one more opportunity for somebody to play spoiler, somebody to jump into a 1 seed. It's all coming together. It's perfect.
And I agree with you guys. It feels like one of those seasons. I think the NFL product continues to get better year to year. It has not let us down, with the exception of the COVID year, which that just let everything down. It has not let us down in a really long time in terms of the outcome. But what's beautiful about the NFL is that, and we're in the middle of this like tension building scenario that is the conglomeration of the regular season, playoffs, go. And this isn't even the good part. This isn't the good part yet. The good part is coming. Yeah. In January, it's coming. Like, this is supposed to be the, hey, we figured out who everybody is. Now let's see who the really good team is. So the good part is still coming. We're less than 2 weeks away. It's going to get here really soon. And man, I cannot wait to see what happens and how all this lines up. But let's get into breaking down the weekend. You mentioned already, guys, the game of the week, game of the year candidate was the 49ers 42-38 win over the Bears. Crazy shootout. Gotta say, I'm gonna put my fandom right on the line. Did not love that there wasn't a PI call on the pick six. Didn't love it. I watched the timing of that play about 9 times. Most people did not look at that really closely. I have not heard anybody try and break that down a ton. Didn't love that there was a shoulder hit clearly before the ball was touched by anybody. Receiver gets laid into right there, and I was like, don't like that. And then pick 6 by TJ Edwards, and good on him, good return, all those things. But the Niners giving up 7 to start the game did not feel great as a fan. And then Brock just comes out and reminds everybody why the 49ers paid him $50 million a year. Those 5 touchdowns were magical. 3 of them were special. The one where he absolutely embarrasses 2 Bears defensive linemen and then kicks it over into the corner to Juice. What a great read. Like, his head is pointed straight forward, but his eyes are on Juice the whole time. And as soon as you see 49, I'm going to forget his name there on the Bears defense, as soon as he commits to Brock, as he's approaching the line of scrimmage, he flicks the ball over to Juice. That was awesome. That was one of the 2 big highlights we saw of this game for the 49ers, including the last play of the game, which had Caleb Williams forced out of the pocket there to his left. And we all saw DJ Moore standing on the far right side of the end zone, completely open by about 10, 12 yards. But inconsequential. There's no way he's getting that ball over there without getting murdered. And he would have left it up long enough to where you could see that 10-yard gap being closed as well. People were making a huge deal out of that last play and how, this could have happened or that could have happened. I also don't think Loveland was as open as everybody thinks he was on the back end. You had a safety trolling. Brown was on the left side of the end zone there as Loveland came over the middle. But, dude, this was a game and a half and so much fun to watch. This, as a fan, this gets your heart racing. I genuinely was just up and down through the whole game, doing my normal pacing at the end. My wife had to hear me yell at a defensive back that none of you need to ever know the name of, named Chase Lucas, about 4 times on the last drive.
I was watching. Yeah, that was
single-handedly tried to give away the game.
Okay.
The guy lives on skates, apparently. Got embarrassed by Luther Burden on one play, literally put him down on the ground twice. That was horrible.
The thing, though, Caleb Williams bailed out Chase Lucas there because he's the reason they lost this game, because he missed like 4 wide open plays. And this has been my thing with Caleb Williams. He can't make the easy throws. If you can't make the easy throws, you're not going to take that next step. Like, you have to be able to make the easy throws, and you should be Superman for 3 or 4 plays. That's what it should be. And he had a wide open touchdown at the end of that game. Like, as he's rolling out and just straight up dumps it like 3 yards in front of, was it Swift or Monungai in the running game? Like, one of the running backs peeled out there. Yeah, it was wide open for potentially a touchdown, and he just missed it. There was like 3 or 4 passes in this game that he just straight up whiffed bad. And so he's the reason they lost this game. I know they still had a chance to win at the end, but with opportunities right in front of him, he couldn't make them, and it forces them into these crazy scenarios where they have to come back and win it, when honestly they probably could have won more games if Caleb Williams just made the easy throws instead of just trying to run out of the pocket and do all this weird stuff. I don't know. I was frustrated at that. Obviously, as someone who was a big Bears fan last week, I was like, Caleb Williams, what are you doing? Why? I understand there was some pressure, but the throws were bad. Like, they were bad throws, even in the face of pressure. I don't know, dude. I was frustrated at that.
You got to put a lot on that secondary and that defense giving up 500 yards.
I was going to say that, to me, that was my thing of the game.
Yeah.
I actually think this is Caleb's, like, maybe his best pro game ever so far. Yes, he did miss some easy throws there, but I think for every throw he missed, he made a throw that shouldn't have been there. And to come out of a game where you throw 330 yards, have 100 rating, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, and no sacks, and you put up 38 points, you put up 31 points because of a pick 6. You put up enough scores to win most football games, yet your defense allows 42. And to me, that's also the tail of the tape for both of these teams for me. Like, I think these are teams who have definitely earned their spot in the playoffs, and I especially wouldn't want to play the Niners. They were the one that won this game. For both of those teams to know that you had to score 42 or 38 to potentially win this ball game gives a little bit of caution there. But I think Caleb Williams played a really good game on the road here. They obviously needed it. If he makes those throws, they win despite allowing those points.
And that's my thing. Like, as a quarterback, you have to be able to take that next step. You have to be able to shoulder those games where your defense gives up 500 yards and 40 plus points.
Yeah, but I think you're asking a lot of a year 2 guy to overcome.
But they were wide open throws. Like, those were so wide open and easy layups. That's my thing. If they, Like, I would not blame Caleb Williams if he didn't just straight up whiff bad on 4 or 5 crucial plays that would extend drives earlier in the game or to win the game. And he just missed, just straight up. And so, like, I understand, yes, I was speaking probably a little bit of hyperbole saying this whole loss is on Caleb Williams. But to miss like that bad, to me, I'm like, that's unexcusable. Like,
if he's
you
doing
are the
it
number
year 3, I definitely think that's a problem. And I do think, again, he's 59% completion percentage this game. Like, we need to probably see next year.
Collinsworth was talking about it.
Have more than like or less than like a 64 completion percentage with the kind of play style you have. And that is the difference. Missing 3 or 4 balls in a game, that's the difference between that extra 5% in your completion percentage. And that's also, in a lot of ways, the difference in the game. But I still think, all things considered, that's probably the best game he's played as a pro. That still means he has some stuff in there that he's missed. But I do think, again, that's a lot of things being shouldered on a year 2 guy who is, for all intents and purposes, a year 1 guy with how bad that rookie season was.
Yeah, and he's missing middle high. So, like, that was a thing consistently in this game when he did miss on throws. It was middle high. But what I think you're pointing out, Grant, correctly, too, is that he's not seeing certain things. And that is something he can grow in. It's not necessarily the arm talent. He's
as talented as they come. Like, pure talent.
He doesn't see it. And that vision can come alive over time. And that is something that develops in veteran quarterbacks. We see that every year, is that vision kind of expands. You see it like this. Like John Elway talked about how most guys come in and they see this much. And then in year 2, it looks like this. In year 3, it looks like this. And then once you get comfortable and you've been working with an OC for a little bit, you start to see this. And that field becomes open. And I think Caleb's clearly just at a natural transition point. I've been really hard on him for certain things that he does. And you cannot be, I don't think that you can be a full-on gunslinger in today's NFL. And I think he loves being a gunslinger. I think he loves taking the chance shot. I think he loves the deep ball. I think he loves running around in circles back there and trying to make things happen. And you saw don't get me wrong, the 49ers are the worst team in the league when it comes to getting sacks. But you saw a very disciplined front keep him in pockets that they wanted him in most of the game. Forcing him to that outside, they knew, like, Huff comes, it's not an accident at all. Huff comes to push him towards his backside or his bad side on that, which is to his left. That's his worst side. You don't want him rolling to the right. That is bad news bears. So they put the speed rusher on the outside. Gross Matos is the weak side defensive end there, and he just stands tall the whole time and collapses that pocket, and you eventually see him make the choice he does at the end and throw it short. Bird and whoever else that was right there. But I think he's in a progression mode. Is this one completely on him? No. There's stuff that he missed, and that's pretty clear. You got to have better than, like Jameson said, than a 59%. And also, you've got to have a defense that has your back. And don't get me wrong, guys. I say this not as a fan. The 49ers offense can run over anyone. Anybody. The only team this year that has genuinely stopped them is the Texans. When this team was healthy, and that offense was as healthy as it has been, the only team that's done anything was the Texans, and that was Brock coming back. That was Mac at the end of taking care of Brock's time away. And that was kind of when all the 49er fans were like, hey, we'd really like our $50 million guy back. This dude's done a good job and everything. We could use our guy.
By the way, that Texans defense stops everybody.
Yes. Yeah. They made the 49ers look silly that week. That was just bad. The Niners were coming in pretty brutal in terms of the injury bug that week. I think that was the worst week of the season that they had in terms of total injuries, and it showed. But, man, I think the takeaways here are the Bears are a really good team, and if that was in Chicago, it could easily have gone the other way. Grant's point about Caleb getting it done, 1 or 2 throws makes a difference in this game, and these are clearly 2 of the best teams in the NFC, and, man, it was just good football. But you come away from this one not wanting to see either of those offenses if you're an opposing defense there in the NFC for sure. But I want to get to a couple more where the offenses didn't have a day. And
speaking of someone who missed the throw, Josh Allen straight up missed bad. That one, that's on him.
That's 100% on him.
Like, that loss is on him. Like,
Khalil Shakir's like, dude, just give me a shot.
And he absolutely is a good play design. He was as open as you can be in the NFL, even more open than you can be in the NFL.
Almost a full yard of separation.
And Josh Allen just straight up misses that.
That was bad.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. Obviously, you play Monday morning quarterback, or in this case, Tuesday afternoon quarterback on that one. But it's not overtime. Do you go for that, and then in overtime you go for that 2-point play to win it? I don't know. I feel like you play for the tie there to have another shot. I don't know. Of course, obviously you say that because they lost it, but
13 to 12. 13 to 12. And I've said this already twice this year on the podcast. I absolutely hate going for 2 to win a game. I hate it. There's nothing good about it.
A couple weeks ago. But overtime's different. Overtime, I think, is different.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Because especially when you're trying to be the 1 seed.
Well, yeah. And
if that was a tie for the Seahawks a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. It was no different than a loss.
Yeah, exactly. Realistically, there's a few scenarios where it does make sense. The percentage on the make overall, by the way, is 47. That's your NFL average, is 47% on a 2-point make. But when you consider when they're doing it, I did a little bit of a dive just for the record on it. I just was like, when does this make sense, not make sense? The percentage chance is under 30 to win the game. To tie it is 97. That's hate
so
that.
Weird.
To tie it with the 1-point scenario.
Okay.
It's 97. You're gonna get you're at a 97% chance of making that kick. I understand what had happened earlier in this game. We had a blocked extra point already on previous touchdown. Coaches get in their heads about stuff like this, and we have seen a certain coach in Buffalo make some really poor choices because something else impacted his emotional state in the middle of a game. And whether that was engage 8 blitz because he was worried about a quarterback being able to take off down the field, or this scenario, he did again, in my mind, make a poor choice. Keep pushing it, dude. They have not moved the ball. That was my thing, is tie this game with the Eagles. The Eagles had 6 yards of offense the entire second half.
On that, again, too, yeah, because you're then going to ask Jalen Hurts to move the ball down the field.
Which can't. He gets his lucky throws to A.J. Brown, legitimately.
But 6 yards of offense, in the second half, to me, I go, because you'd rather trust your Superman, Josh Allen, who's clearly the best quarterback in the league, to go march down the field and kick the field goal or the touchdown, whatever the scenario would be. Yeah. You like that way more than Jalen Hurts doing that.
And that has been my whole point, is these 2-point things don't make a lot of sense. And it's come up often when you're facing inept offenses too, because these teams have been coming from behind, scoring points. Speaking of the Bills coming against the Eagles in the second half, and they're like, man, we have the momentum. And it's this whole stupid momentum conversation. That works really good in college football where you keep getting chances. That college football overtime, we've been over this on the podcast a few times in previous years. You get more chances. There's always these chances that line up, and your defense can make a stop. You can do all this stuff, and there's way more variables. This is cut and dry. This play makes it, you win. It doesn't, you lose. And the chance is literally under 30% that you're going to make it to win the game. Defenses tend to stand tall in those close and short scenarios.
I feel like defenses, they run those red zone plays more than offenses do. Because I feel like a lot of times those are way more crucial to stand tall, to win the game, hold off a touchdown. Field goal is so much different from a touchdown. So I feel like that's where defenses are most of the week, in practices, is that. So they probably run that.
Matters.
They probably run that a whole lot more. Offenses do too, obviously, because offenses need to get those touchdowns instead of field goals. But for defenses, that's so much more important. So I feel like they know exactly what they need to run based on certain looks.
And I think all coaches would tell you that, when offensive coaches would tell you, they're looking at down and distance and what they need to cover when they make a play call. Is there certain stuff? Yes, because of the red zone, you only have that 10-yard buffer in the end zone, and you're at, let's say, the 2 or 3 yard line, whatever. I only have 13 yards of field to work with. There's going to be a certain thought process that goes in your head, but that might be the same type of call that you would make on a 4th and 2 from the 37 or something like that, because you only need to cover a certain distance. Yeah, there is definitely more done on the defensive side because touchdowns are what matters. Defenses will give up field goals all day long in the NFL because offenses are expected to score. But defenses are like, hey, man, if we can get 4 less points out of this, that's what we're going to do. So we're planning for that. You watch the way the 49ers play, it's why they won the game, right? They gave up the field goal instead of the touchdown when it mattered.
Yeah, in that game, it was who can stop one time.
Yep. And they did, and that's all that matters.
And guess what? Won by 4 points.
Yeah. And it's the minimal difference that you need to have. So, yeah, defenses, you're right, Grant, are definitely more prepared for it in those scenarios. We got to say one more time. The Eagles' offense is really bad. Like, it's really bad.
Trash.
It's absolutely horrible. They have put some points on teams that don't matter, just like everybody else does, but they cannot move the ball late in games, especially. It's gonna cost them. And I know that we're beating down on a team that's in the double-digit win scenario, gonna win its division, all that, or has won its division already. My bad, and everything, but it's really bad.
Yeah,
that
dude,
coordinator thing matters.
I mean, Sean McDermott gifted them this win by going for 2 there, because like otherwise they smoked the Raiders, shocker, and smoked the Commanders, shocker, 2 of some of the worst teams offenses in the league, 31 against the Raiders, 29 against the Commanders. And then to me, they are the equivalent of the NFC, like the Broncos in the AFC, like a team that is a really good defense, but that offense just has questions, and you do not have confidence in that offense come here in a couple weeks when they're going to need to score points. Like, you need to in the playoffs. You can't, like, these score, I don't know.
And Buffalo's defense isn't like particularly elite, really.
No, they've been,
and especially like
they're
in the
old.
running game, they allow 140 rush yards per game. The Eagles have 80. And this is a team that last year won the Super Bowl on the back of that run game, that dual threat, obviously in the backfield. And so to come out of here and Saquon averages about 3.5 yards a carry, only has 68 yards, and then they have combined between other little junk plays like 82 rushing yards on 26 attempts.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly, especially when you're completing 48% of your passes for 110 yards.
When you're watching these run games, like right now, usually it's the team that their run game is moving. Let's consider Detroit prior year here. Like when you watch that momentum of the run game increase as you get toward the playoffs, that translates real big, right? Eagles last year, obviously. But like when you watch those teams and that run game start to move, that is going to lead you to the success that you need to have in the postseason. So, and in watching, I was thinking about this during the 49er game. I'm like, towards the end of it, I go, man, CMC just ran for 140 yards. That's been his biggest game of the year.
That's how the Bears ramped up their season. They're like, oh, we got a dual threat running back situation now.
They were averaging 170 a game over an 8-9 game span between Monangai and Swift. Like they looked great. And the Niners are one of the better run defenses in the league right now, especially if you look past the last 10 games. So that wasn't a super big surprise to me, what they were able to do in terms of limiting that this weekend. But watch where that trajectory is going. That tells you a lot about what that team's probably going to be in the playoffs. The Eagles, the Packers, the Packers are week 1 gone. Bye-bye. Yeah, it doesn't matter who the two...
They're hobbling. See it,
dude. Yeah. Like those injuries are just mounting, and I really hate what happened with Josh Jacobs as a fantasy owner the last 2 weeks, just for the record. But no, like you see that and what's going on there, and man, you can see that trajectory of those teams and how it's shaping up. So I think the Packers are gone. I think the Eagles have a real good shot to get ousted in week 1 of the playoffs. I don't, obviously, I know you don't love the trend of what happened with your Rams last night. I think that's you can recover from that for sure. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I have a bit on that. Maybe we can get into later, but
yeah, that's something that can get handled. But yeah, you look over on the AFC side and teams that are not running the ball well right now, which good on the Ravens this week, by the way. Holy crap.
Thank you, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, well, it was there the whole time.
It's like Harbaugh watched our segment, guys.
Did I call it or not and say that? Watch Harbaugh come out here and just run it a gazillion times to try and be like, sorry guys.
He found like $1,000 check in his pocket. Oh, it was there the whole time.
I'm gonna spend that.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like I had a Ferrari in the garage the entire freaking time. By the way, fourth quarter of that game, guess who took the first? Guess who took the snaps on the first series for the Ravens? Not Henry. And guess what happened? They did not get a first down. And then guess what happened? When the Ravens got the ball back, Henry was back in the game, dang it. Because you're not going to rotate him out twice in a row. That was hilarious.
I'll say it right now. He is now 10th all-time in rush yards.
He is.
Yeah, he hit a lot of things in that game.
Yeah, he jumped quite a few there.
Doesn't he have now most 200-yard rushing games?
I think so. I think I saw that.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to have a conversation because these playoffs are going
Is
are
Derrick
I
Henry.
I think contain not one but two Hall of Fame running backs. One on each side of the conferences here, but that conversation got loud last year for us about Derrick Henry and where he was at in terms of his overall trajectory. Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. Like, he is a Hall of Fame running back, period.
He passed Adrian Peterson and OJ Simpson. They were all tied for 6. Now he has 7, stands alone.
He is in first ballot conversation now.
yeah.
He's moved from making it to first ballot
I mean,
conversation.
he's above Jim Brown, Marshall Faulk.
Come on.
Yeah, I think our
Tony
conversation
Dorsett.
about him being the last like elite peak, like last of a dying breed style running back is pretty on point. aging
That-
pretty well.
There's now a conversation to have there because I think that CMC,
Bro, he's
His-
Oh,
on-
I view him
his
differently
case.
though. I view him differently. I'm
Yeah.
talking like bell cow, like the Derrick Henry archetype of
you
running
mean,
back is
like a
no
guy
more.
that runs 20 times in one half?
No, a guy who's like more on watch for 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving than he is for 2,000 rushing yards and 20 rushing touchdowns.
No, I totally get that those are two different things because Derrick Henry cannot do what CMC does and CMC cannot do
Because
what Derrick
Bijan
Henry
is
does.
like the same archetype, where that is now like the archetype
Closer.
of running back that exists. Yeah,
Yeah,
Or at least
closer.
the ones that are going to be elite today.
McCaffrey's more the finesse type.
Yeah, he's like a Marshall Faulk reincarnation, basically.
Yeah, I would say with that comparison, he puts his shoulder down a little more. Marshall definitely skated the sidelines better than
Mhm.
anybody else maybe ever in the game as far as running backs go. But CMC does put his shoulder down. But I think that conversation is getting very real. CMC doing stuff that nobody else has done in the
I don't
history
know.
of the
He's-
NFL.
He's not even top 25 in rushing yards, dude.
Yep. But what is he in terms of receiving yards for a running back?
He's not. He's a running back though.
They're not going to look at it. They're going to look at it all purpose yards, touchdowns. He's going to get all the consideration for stuff like that. Offensive Player of the Year award, like all that's going to come into play when you consider those numbers. And
I
and
think
look
it's
at it.
real. I think it's a little early because knowing his trajectory, he's going to be injured all of next season because he's 1 year. I don't know. He's only got, what is he at? He's at like 7,000. Yeah, he's at 7,500 yards for his career rushing and
Mhm.
5,000 receiving.
Yeah.
But there's guys that aren't even in the Hall of Fame that are above him in rushing yards.
That is, we need to see a little bit more, but I think the point stands of if I could just take a player and what they are when they're playing football, like he's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Add the touchdowns. Add the touchdowns like into it, and you're gonna see a certain outcome. If Frank Gore is a finalist this year, when you're looking at all yards
he's
all
better than
time,
Frank Gore ever was, but Frank
Yeah.
Gore was just the consistency machine for a
it's
Yeah.
scoring. It's scoring. It's all-purpose yards. When you look at like his numbers, and you're going to compare him to guys that are currently finalists, I think CMC. Yeah, it's probably 2 more years of production that needs to be added in there. But
I think he needs to hit the 10K.
conversation's
I think he
good
needs to hit the 10K mark rushing. I think
now.
that's.
I don't think they're going to worry about it. I think it genuinely
They
it's
do for all the-
all-purpose yards.
I don't know. I feel like
He's-
that matters.
He's a unicorn. He's a freaking unicorn, dude. There's literally 3 guys to compare to him ever in the history of the NFL. And you look at when you look at Marshall Faulk, when you go into the numbers on him in particular, that's a very fair comparison. But there's just a few guys that have done what he's done. He's about to have 100 catches in the season, and he's going to hit 2,000 plus all-purpose again. We're real close to that 20 touchdown marker right now. I don't.
Yeah, he'd have to get 120, 110 receiving yards this week. That might be a little much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, to do
Right
the
now,
1,000 and
the-
1,000?
Yeah,
The total number still needs to go up, though.
That's
only
my-
thing.
yeah.
He just has to play a little bit longer.
Oh
which
yeah, and
he's-
I'm on
he's in a
trajectory.
slog
here.
of people who have 13,000, and so if he gets up to 15, then you're like, okay, now you're officially like in top 40 all time, and then
Yeah.
where do you end up?
so yeah,
Yeah,
he's
But yeah,
six.
the
He's
touchdowns,
six.
the peak.
He's
season-
sixth
the
in
individual
receiving
seasons.
yards for running backs. He's sixth right now.
Yeah.
He might creep up to 5. He'd have to get a lot to creep up to
Yeah.
5, but he'll be there next season.
Yeah, no, and so that's more my point. We said the same thing about Henry. It's trajectory oriented. I
Mhm.
just think he's definitely on said trajectory. I understand
I mean,
everybody's an injury away from losing that
I
opportunity.
think Derrick
but
Henry's a Hall of Famer if he retires tomorrow.
I agree.
And so
Yeah.
that's to me that's a little different. If McCaffrey retires like after the season for whatever reason, I don't think he gets it. But yes, If he gets like two more good seasons,
Yeah, then
he's
he
probably
might
there.
need the era conversation. That
I
might
also
have to
think
be his Hall of Fame.
he has a legit, and I think he probably should win the Offensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
And that's another, like,
That's
once the season's
two of
over, you put
those.
another trophy on the mantle.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of those seasons at that point could just become undeniable.
Because that
Right.
MVP, like when you look at like MVPs for quarterbacks, you get two. That's it.
That's
That's it. It doesn't really matter what your numbers were. Like, that's it. You win multiple Super Bowls, you're getting in at some point.
Yeah.
Eli Manning is gonna get there. Like, period. Does not have some of the numbers that we'd like in terms of the touchdown interception ratio in particular, but he has the yards to justify it. He has the win total to justify it, and he has 2 Super Bowl rings. He's gonna get in. That'll happen. And it's all different considerations for players. I just think that CMC is checking all the boxes that he
he's
needs
on his way. Yeah, for sure.
to get there. But in this weekend conversation, I knew I was going to bring that up today. In this weekend conversation, the Texans continue to prove us right, gentlemen, that they are the most terrifying defense in the league. And they took Herbert and the boys to task. They ended a lot of guys' fantasy season in the worst way this weekend. If you were a Herbert Lad McConkey duo owner, I know a lot of people did that after the season that Lad had last year. Clearly, the first 4 or 5 weeks sucked, but they finally came around, and then the Texans just buried them. Genuinely, nobody wants to see his team in the playoffs. The Chargers, though, have got to figure out how to run the ball. That's on them. I know that's the Texans defense, and that defensive front is crazy good, but they have got to run the ball consistently. And the big issue for them has been the health of the offensive line, as well. Hampton, their running back, not being there. But Vidal did a great job. But since he's been come back, or since he had taken on that lead role, they lost 2 more offensive linemen. So this is a team that's just constantly like having to.
Do they have any? If they've lost their left tackles, and do they have any starters from week 1?
I think they have 1.
Is it 1? It's probably their center.
1, maybe 2, if I remember
crazy.
right. I'd have to go back and look at their stuff on our lads, but
it's been like an absolute like year from hell situation for their offensive line, especially. And obviously, you lose your top 2 running backs at the beginning of the season as well, and so many.
Oh yeah,
weird things
Najee Harris.
happening in
That's right.
Yeah, in the
I forgot about that
as well. It was just like doomed from the start, which is like such a Chargers thing when they're still here. Well, they won 11 games already still so far, despite all of that.
And then in this game too, like Cameron Dicker's the most accurate kicker in the NFL, and then misses 2 of them, and the
field goal and an extra point.
That's
the 4-point difference.
CJ Stroud's not really doing anything after those first couple of touchdowns early, and there's just still not enough juice from that O-line to get anything going. Obviously, credit to the Texans defense, like absolutely just keeping them in that game. But
right, they just sat back because they had 14 points on the board before this hit 9 minutes on the clock in the first quarter. Like 2 huge plays, and legit, like Ryan's goes, okay, we're just going to hang out right here. We're going to kick a couple more field goals. Not going to worry about it. We're going to play super conservative. Like you saw if you were watching their play call, Stroud's not taking shots down the field. I think he took 2 more shots the whole game after they were up 14. That is how you manage a lead really effectively in the NFL. Obviously getting a little bit of fortune there with the
not great, but
yeah.
But the defense still just locked them down.
It just shows how massive of a margin for error the Texans have when you have a defense that will just, maul everybody and dominate everybody no matter what. That you can afford to have a quarterback who maybe isn't playing as great after a couple great throws there. But dude, the Texans, if you start 0-3, you have a 2 to 2.5% chance of making the playoffs.
Preach.
And they did it. There's 6 other teams that have ever done that to start 0-3.
The Rams twice.
The Rams. The last team that did it was the Texans in 2018. They were the last team to do it. It was 2018 or 2019. Don't remember. But, dude, hats off to them, man. They've won 8 in a row. They are getting it done. That defense is insane and terrifying, and no one wants to play them. And that is a team that can make the Super Bowl with that defense. Like, absolutely.
The Texans are who Broncos fans think the Broncos are, where the Texans defense is ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, the Denver Broncos defense is still very good. But I don't think, and not to turn this into a Bo Nix versus Stroud thing, but that's what it is. Like, that Texans defense is so good, and Stroud can have a game like this, and then they win. And the Broncos, I don't think if Bo Nix shows up and turns the ball over a couple times, I don't think that the Broncos defense is so ferocious in the same way. that the Texans defense is. And that's really, I think, the word that I would use to set them apart is like that Texans defense is just ferocious. Like it is, you're worried somebody's going to get hurt because they're coming across the middle. They're going to get absolutely clocked by Al-Shaair, or you're going to throw a pick and you've got like ball hawks on both sides. It's just, the pass rush obviously is disgusting. There's just so many ways that they can get you. And in the same way where the run game at this point firing up is like a testament to how things can pan out in the postseason, that's the same thing with this Texans defense. We've seen it all season, but really over this win streak, it's just like that Texans defense is just getting better and better and more violent. It's really something to watch. I love watching them play football.
Dude, if you're the Patriots or the Jaguars, by the way, you want none of that.
Yeah.
No.
You might want to lose this week to end up as the 3 seed, dude, because you do not want that in the first round. Forget
Even
it.
if you win, you're just going to get beat up. And you don't have a bye. So you're just week 1, you spend getting beat up. And then
whoever you're facing next.
I have this kind of like belief that the 5 and the 6 seed are the better scenario than the 2. Like I was looking
both
at that.
sides and both, both playoffs, AFC and NFC. Yeah, the 5 seed is. We'll talk about
we lost that game to the Falcons last night.
Yeah, because you can't get that right. Yeah.
South,
so, dude, for like our game, which we'll talk about later, like to get the 5 seed, which would happen, I'm like, okay, that makes that easier to swallow. Not having the first round.
Want a literal bye, or as I like to say, a spiritual bye,
or it's a tune-up game essentially. Like just you stay in football shape. You don't have that week off. But anyway, we'll get there.
But legit, like if you're the Bills and the Chargers, your prospective opponents right now would be the Steelers or the Ravens, possibly, or you would get the Jags or the Pats. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily want to see either of those teams, but I think I'd rather be in that scenario of getting the Jaguars. Maybe that's the team I'd want to face of those, because the Jaguars have that kind of up down with the takeaways.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, but
I think
I'm just saying I don't want to play Texans.
Wins the AFC North. I think that's who I'd rather have.
Yeah. No, I'd want to be the 5. The 5 is the best seed right now for the first round in both.
Yeah.
For sure. In both the AFC and the NFC. If you're not getting that bye week, that's what you probably want right now.
Which is also why the NFC West is so infuriating this year, because no matter how you would have sliced it, one of our teams is either not getting the gimme game or not getting the bye, and all those teams are good.
Please God, let the Rams lose to the stupid Cardinals.
That's not happening.
I think we lost the 5 seed. Anyway.
Yeah, the Rams lost the 5 seed. The highest they can be is a 6 with their loss.
After losing the Falcons.
Actually, not true. So if the 49ers lose, the Rams do control their destiny for the 5 seed.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys have a better division record than us.
No, I think you guys got it. So on the scenarios that I looked up last night, I think if the Niners lose and the Rams win, the Rams get the 5.
So
pretty sure that's what I saw.
If that's correct, then we still have life, and I will be the biggest Seahawks fan of all time.
Welcome.
Yeah,
water's warm.
Mike write it in there? No, he did not. Okay.
I thought the Rams were mathematically eliminated from the 5 seed, which was why it was like a nightmare game, because that pick isn't better for you for the Falcons. You can't get the 5 seed.
At that point, like the pick thing went out the window
a little bit. The
Falcons, they were no longer like a 5-win team.
Yeah,
but also the bottom feeder teams in the league this year are just so pitiful.
Yeah, dude.
But
it's another class of its own. It's either you're the Raiders, and then no one else is even close to that level. Like even the Giants, who they played,
stomped them.
Yeah, the Giants are not good, but like you would take them every time as a better team. Okay, so the Rams.
Who knows?
What I said was true.
Yeah, the Rams can still get the 5 seed. They must beat the Cardinals in Week 18, and the Seahawks must beat the 49ers in Week 18 matchup. Otherwise, they're locked on the 6th seed. If Niners win the game, the Rams are the 6th seed regardless of their result.
It is the dumbest thing in the world that you have to be a fan of teams you hate when the division's this good. Like you have to be a fan of a team.
Do we want to just do we just get rid of this? This division thing's stupid. I'm tired of it, because like we're gonna see the Panthers or the Buccaneers in the playoffs, and they clearly don't deserve to be there over like some of these other teams here. Well, I don't know. Get rid of this whole division.
Imagine this in a year where we didn't have an expanded playoff. like where you only have 6 playoff teams and you have
Yep.
a division like the NFC West where 3 of those teams
Yeah.
are going to be in the playoffs? Or what if another division also had the same situation where now you have between 3 divisions, you have 7 double-digit win teams that are legitimately good teams, but maybe you have your NFC South where you're going to have a team that might be below 500 win that freaking division.
Yeah.
I get
But,
that
I mean-
that's how it is, and that's probably how it still should be for the sake of the league, but it does become
But then
really
the other
like, man,
option
there are
too-
better teams eliminated right now in Cancun than there are fighting in the postseason.
But then some of the other options for this playoffs is we get some of the complaints with the CFP where it's like this, like people deciding, oh, this team should be in because it would be something like with the 9, because like right now the NFC West is the SEC where it's like strength of competition here. Even a 9-win, either one of our teams deserves to be in because they're playing these other teams, Rams, Seahawks, Niners.
Yeah.
Like obviously they're going to lose those games.
Yeah,
And
the
that-
NFL is
Yeah.
the NFL is the best like North American sport product, like period. But if there is one thing that I appreciate with the NBA is you have a top to bottom,
Yeah.
1 through
There's no conference
15,
thing.
and you're like
Or division
the
thing.
top 8. And
They
obviously
have
they
that
the
right.
plan. But then if there are tiebreakers, now you look at your division and who
That's
gets
fine.
what seed based on that.
Because
sometimes I wish we had that in the NFL.
To defend that conversation, Tampa Bay is playing for a playoff spot this week, but in the NFC, they are currently the 11th team.
Yeah.
The 11th.
That's stupid.
If we didn't have automatic division winners in the playoffs, not even a conversation. They would have been eliminated like the Cowboys were like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago,
Mhm.
essentially. And on the other side of it, you have the 9th ranked team, Baltimore, competing for that last spot. And realistically, that should be the 7th seed, not the 4th seed. Because you have Buffalo sitting there. Buffalo's the 7 right now at 11-5. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely dumb. And on the NFC side, Green Bay, 9-6-1 currently. Win, lose, whatever, they're going to end up in that 7th seed. They can't go up, can't move down, you can't move out at this point. But that's where they should be. You look at Carolina is going to finish 8-8, 9-8, a best scenario here. And Green Bay could be sitting there with 10 wins and have to be at the 7th spot with them at the 4. We see that every year. I don't understand why we auto the division winners in. I don't get it.
And I do think it could also like make the MVP conversation a little bit more interesting at times, because now, like, obviously you look at it and I think Stafford probably threw that out the window last night with his 3 interceptions. But if Stafford still has a great season, but loses the number 1 overall seed or the division because of a loss to Seattle where he threw for 1 billion yards and looked amazing, now they're like, oh, technically you fell all the way down from the 1 seed to a 5 or a 6 because of a 2-point conversion that he wasn't involved with. And now all of a sudden that's going to have a narrative weight to this conversation. Whereas if we had a seeding that was more lined up with, okay, how are these teams actually ranked within their conferences? Then you also look and see, oh, like CMC is on a 6-seeded team, has a ton of yards. Maybe we should actually consider that a little bit more, because when you look at it on a list, it actually checks out. Like, oh, the best players with the best stats on the best ranked teams, maybe that at least changes some perception. Whether that's right or wrong, you could argue that, but there is a lot of weight in that conversation.
Winning should absolutely impact the MVP conversation. How well did you push this
And I feel
team?
like seeding right now almost like covers that more than winning in some cases.
Yeah. And it certainly feels that way. I agree. It certainly feels that way. And I know we don't want to beat those conversations to death because we're going to have plenty of time to talk about playoffs and postseason awards. We're going to get into that next week some more. 100% we're going to be having the regular season awards convo. We're going to try and make our picks as we always do at the conclusion of the regular season. So I want to dive into that a little bit more. But it's interesting how all this crap lines out in regards to win-loss and who's in, who's out, and how the divisions really play into all of it. Like I said, I hate that I have to root for division teams that I hate the last week of the year when we're in this scenario, which we have all been in quite a bit since we have started this podcast several years ago now. Like it's been an ongoing dialogue. It seems like the last week of the season every year. Got to give a lot of props to the Jaguars. Speaking of games from the weekend, closing out the Colts 23-17. Liam Cohen, in my mind, making a dramatic case for Coach of the Year. Here's where I landed on that. By the way, we'll dialogue it next week because this game, in my opinion, meh. Like, we knew this is where it's probably headed.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers was not going to be able to put the ball far enough down the field to really make an impact against a team that gets big plays and does things in chunks. And that is what the Jaguars have been doing all season. So we didn't expect a different result than this. But here's where I've landed on the Coach of the Year conversation. There are two at this point, and this is why. I think Liam Cohen has made an incredible case. Win or lose this next week, I think he's made a really good case. I think the other one is Kyle Shanahan. And I think that if one of them wins and one loses this next week, that could literally be the deciding factor. You have two guys that fought adversity in very different ways this year. Obviously, Liam Cohen taking a team that was 4 wins last year, just organizationally a mess, but had a lot of good pieces that just needed some structure to it. And they needed to bring a few things in for sure. And they did a great job. The team knew, hey, we can't beat you down every play, but what we can do is ball hawk on defense. We're not going to get this defense in a certain shape yet. So they went and ball hawk. They are number 2 team in takeaways this year, trailing only the Bears. The Bears did essentially the exact same thing, by the way. Brilliant move by Dennis Allen and how he constructed that defense to do that. But also, you look at what they had in terms of the pieces. Trevor Lawrence, you had the running game. You already had a couple of depth pieces in tight end that you really liked, including Strange. That has been great for them. They make the move for Jacoby Myers, which was brilliant. So the front office really helped this. Great move. So you look at all that and you go, okay, they had a lot of pieces. They need the organization. They got it from Liam Cohen. And obviously that offense has taken off just like every other offense that Liam Cohen has had the opportunity to put some time into. And he's a genius in that regard.
Weird.
Yep. But for sure. And then you look at what Shanahan did with the injuries that happened to his team, a team that was declared dead early on in the season. And you just see how he coached his way through it week to week, sometimes winning by double digits in games that his team wasn't even favored in. And it's just been a coaching masterclass when it comes to getting the best out of your depth. And probably the best example of that, came this last weekend. Austin Pleasance has to come in after one play. Trent Williams goes down with a hamstring pull on that pick 6, and he comes in and plays an incredible game. This is a guy who's been on like 7 teams in the last 5 years and just goes through it and gets into the system, does an amazing job. He got the game ball, by the way, for the Niners, I think deservedly. And then you look at what they've done with the tight end position, and he gets 7 catches out of Tongas and a touchdown. Just watching him coach every single week and how he's getting so much out of it and recognizing, hey, our defense is not where it needs to be. We lost 4 guys. We're going to have to push the ball down the field all the time. And so we got to set ourselves up to be able to do that consistently, and they've done nothing but. So I think those are the 2 guys. With all due respect to Ben Johnson, I think the head-to-head with Shanahan this week was the deciding factor in that for me personally, and I think Ben Johnson's done an amazing job. I think that McDonald in Seattle deserves a lot of consideration, but a lot of that stuff was already in place. I'm looking for the transformative and what the guy's done in the year transformatively with what they've been handed. And I think that case, to me, is just really clear between those 2 right now.
I think in the NFL, they should do what the MLB does and have an AFC, NFC coach of the year.
I like that.
I really do. You can't make that argument for all because they split everything, AL, NL, because the NFL, they play each other too much for that to really differentiate. But for coach of the year, there's we talked about last week, there's so many great arguments for all of them. DeMeco Ryans being 0-3 and to coach that that right there is enough. And a lot of other years, that might be the one that takes the cake because of that right there. And then obviously Shanahan potentially getting the 1 seed, McDonald potentially getting the 1 seed, winning 14 games,
potentially getting the 1 seed.
But yeah, Sean Payton.
Yep.
So many. So I don't know. I feel like there's so many guys that deserve it this year that they should look at an NFC AFC split for the coach of the year.
Do you think you got to take rosters into account when you look at how they got there when you look at the coach of the year stuff? Because the Broncos have been building, right? They've been building up. The Seahawks have been building up. McVay's already been here and done that. Then, to be honest, the Bears had been building up. Ryan Poles has done a heck of a job putting that squad together, and then finally got his coach. And again, I think
Vrabel.
And that as well. But again, that's a roster, right?
Yeah, there's a lot there already.
Schedule in the league by a mile. Yeah.
And that's an incredible roster with a MVP quarterback
He's the favorite in terms of in Vegas.
today.
Yeah.
Yep. Stafford may have shot himself in the foot. We'll see how this week goes.
I don't know, but like 12, like he's got 12 more touchdowns than Drake May. Like,
I know.
that's a large margin. Like it is, but the narrative,
get
it's the
into
narrative. It's the what have you done for me lately that the voters like. How you end the season matters so much more than what you did the first 15, 14 weeks of the season.
Oh, and 100% is. This is like when college football, like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
You lose that game in week 1. That's fine
cares?
because you won all those other ones on the way out. You lose that conference championship game, you may not even be a top 4 team, even if you only lost it by a point. It was absolute trash.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that might happen to Stafford here. I don't want to take away from what he's done the whole freaking year, but they really might. They might hold that last night against them. The pick
And
the
the
pick
division
6 that was bad.
But also just again, like we talked about with the division, like Drake May is a division winner. Matt Stafford isn't.
There's a
Possible 1
chance.
seed. Yep.
I'm clinging on to the small outside chance that this could be like Leo's Oscar win for The Revenant, where this obviously isn't the best movie that Leonardo DiCaprio has ever.
But like he
made
had
and
won one.
grabbed. But
Yeah.
we got to get like a makeup like legacy award here, and this is
Yeah.
like the last chance really that Stafford is going to have a year like this, and he's 1B right now. So does that narrative
I mean,
help a little bit?
I still think if he wins it, I think he deserves it. If Drake May wins it, I think Drake May deserves it. That's where I'm at with both of them.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I will say it was really cold when Leo was filming that movie, though. That was
That's
really
true.
cold, guys.
That's
You
true.
know, it was like 10 degrees outside for some of those scenes, okay? So that's hard. You got to equate that in there. No, but we're going to get into that conversation in particular. I just wanted to give a lot of props to the Jaguars and the whole of their season. We don't talk about them a ton on our show, but it deserved a little bit of a recognition. Really quickly, the Dolphins beat the team that everybody is apparently able to beat in the Bucks this week, 20-17. There's so many questions that are going to need to get answered, and I think we're going to go into that. Yep.
Yeah, he's done.
Probably.
He's done.
Playoffs or not, I think
Especially when you're watching Liam Cohn go off with the Jags, and it's, we had this guy in house. Really interesting. Same thing with the Ravens and McDonald. Or we had this guy, could have been our generational coach for the next 30 years because he's so young after Harbaugh. But let's let that guy leave and then watch what happens. Yep.
Yeah, this is not the Shanahan and Ryan scenario where you just have a 1A, 1C, if you will, and grows up. That's different. You had Liam Cohen in there, and he was clearly the difference for your offense.
Look at Baker's numbers with him last season. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's going to be wild.
And he has more weapons now with Ibuka in there. Like, he should have taken another step or continued that with all the more weapons he had. And a second season of Bucky Irving in there totally should have been a next step.
Yeah, and Bucky being hurt a lot did not help them in some instances. That is a deep running back room, but Bucky is different for that squad for sure. And
the fall off has been crazy, and you absolutely have to put that.
Yeah, dude, Baker had an MVP season last year, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns. That's nuts.
Yep,
that's insane.
And yeah, absolutely. And it's really like super going to be interesting what they choose to do. And this Sunday could determine, or sorry, is that they're the Saturday game? My bad, right? Yeah, they're
Panthers,
playing first.
Panthers,
against the Panthers, that could determine everything for Todd Bowles and his future in the NFL. Win or lose this game, I think it matters more probably to him than anybody else that's going to be involved in it. Going to be really interesting. Mike McDaniel could probably, on the flip side of this conversation with Miami, could make a case that he's saving his job. He's out there coaching pretty well the last little bit since we came at him pretty hard after that Steelers loss on Monday Night Football. We were like, hey, you're done. But he's done nothing but coach him up the last few weeks. It'll be really interesting to see what they choose to do with him as well. That would be hilarious, by the way, if these two just switch jobs. I thought about that earlier. I was like, the weakness over here is this, and the weakness over there is that. Would be pretty funny.
Stays in the state and is the DC over there.
Yeah, but I think McDaniel, if McDaniel gets let go, he's going to go back and be an OC, and that's probably where he belongs, in my opinion.
Or he should coach the Titans. Give him Cam Ward. That could be pretty fun.
Cam Ward's kind of a wizard.
That roster sucks on ice, so
yeah. But if you take him in and you know that, then you're like, okay, coach, quarterback, they're both young. We're gonna be bad. Let's tank another year and then be awesome.
I also like doing the rundown on these games, guys. I just want to point out for the 10th time. I know it's annoying, like that we come on here and say certain things, and it gets a little old here and there. I said a million times, the Steelers suck. They suck. They're in a bad division. That's why their division has been depleted this year. That's why they even have an opportunity to be in the playoffs. 10-6 against the freaking Browns.
Them deciding that did not want Aaron Rodgers to be the one that Myles Garrett broke the sack record on is the most idiotic, dumb, stupid, short-sighted thing ever, because now you're fighting to get into the playoffs. Because I don't care what Aaron Rodgers says. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, whatever. Watch the tape. It was so clear. They were doing everything in their power to make sure that Aaron Rodgers was not the guy that got sacked. How much of an ego are you trying to feed here, Mike Tomlin? How much of an ego are you trying to feed here, the Rooney family? They're like, you don't want your Steelers to like forever be etched as the team that Myles Garrett broke the sack record on, but now you might not even make the playoffs. So stupid, and I hope the Ravens win and beat you and kick you out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Because of that.
I think they will. Honestly,
they might because
I
Derrick
hope
Henry
they save
coming.
Lamar for this game, and I hope Derrick Henry runs it down their throat. I hope they lose this game by 1,000,000.
I hope
It's
Huntley
so
plays this
frustrating
game
to
and
watch
they
that
win.
team.
That's what I hope. Huntley plays, they win because Derrick Henry runs for another 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Steelers can't do anything. They don't have DK because he got himself in trouble.
Which, hey, we didn't do
talked about
what
that
we should have last week. We should have done it. DK is the worst teammate in the NFL right now. That is the most selfish trash that you could do to your squad. And as much as I do not like what the Steelers are and how they have been constructed, they could have at least had a chance at a playoff win if you would have just stuck around. Because you're telling me that DK wouldn't have made a difference when they needed to get a first down this last week?
He kept throwing
Absolutely
high point balls to Valdez Scantling like it was
Dear
DK
Lord,
Metcalf.
hired him off the street 3 weeks ago. Literally.
Yeah,
Like,
that him, and also I totally forgot that Adam Thielen is on this team.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
Scotty
are
Miller.
scraping the
Like-
barrel and having these guys go get honest reps when they should just be injury substitutions, because you decided that whatever that dude said to you was more important than $40 million of your contract and your team's opportunity to make the playoffs. You emotional child. What are you doing?
The Steelers are not voiding it. That came out. They're not voiding that. Probably just to try and that's to appease him.
By the way,
like,
that's in their back
yeah.
pocket forever. They can at any point in time. They're like, oh, we're not going to do that. You're not going to do it right now because you're in the playoff hunt, because you need this guy next year. Legitimately, he's a cornerstone of your offense, and you made that decision institutionally already. But they have that in their pocket. He is absolutely an awful teammate. What a horrible decision.
I don't miss him at all. He was great for 2 years when he was like popping off and 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. But it's crazy. I called it. Like, they paid a second-round pick, paid him $30 million, and I said, this is a dude who's going to catch 60 balls, 900 yards, and 6 touchdowns. You know what his stats are? 59 receptions, 850 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Roll the tape. I called it, like preview. I'm a prophet, okay? Like, I called this 100%. This was going to happen.
We said their ceiling was 10 wins. We said this team maybe makes the playoffs and gets crushed because they won't have the legs to make a run. I preached it all year long. Grant called this about DK. We have been right about the Steelers from get one. I remember the dude who tried to light us up after a preview episode. Shout out to whatever that guy's name is. You sat there and said we were absolute idiots and we knew nothing. Thank you so much for sticking around, hopefully, for this conversation. We feel pretty vindicated usually when the playoffs roll around. Don't get me wrong. We don't get everything right, guys. We know that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm wrong all the time.
But our hit rate's pretty stinking good. I'm having the worst pick-em year of my life, and I'm still at 67, 70%, somewhere in that range right now. Come on. Like, we watch ball. We talk about it. We understand it. I am not surprised at all.
And, like, I've never loved DK Metcalf. I would always joke about he was just he had no route tree, and then he had a couple good seasons when he got into the league, and it was like, oh yeah, look at this, he's doing so much better. I'm like, to be honest, I was never always that impressed with his numbers, and when you would watch him play, because he would moss somebody and have a 60-yard touchdown, but then he would also drop every other thing and get into every other altercation. I'm like, this guy, even if he has a 1,000-yard receiver, there are a lot of 1,000-yard receivers out there or around that mark that can do a lot for you, and 1, not cost you as much, 2, not get themselves suspended or fined or penalized or whatever in a crucial
Dude,
moment of
the
your game,
penalties.
or in this case of your season.
I remember,
Again,
I think it
totally
was like
hilarious.
2 years ago when it was against the Niners or whatever. It's when the Niners were clearly like a much better team, like 2019 or 23, I don't know, where they literally said, "Yeah, we knew if we pissed off 14, that would benefit us because they did something, said something to him, he shoved him, tacked on a 15-yard penalty, and that ended up being substantial. I think it was like the 2023 season or something like that.
Lenore. It's
Yeah.
Lenore. Like he loves it. Like
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. Just go after
And
that
he,
guy.
like DK had the one elite season. He had 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. Like that season, the second year, he was elite that year. But then ever since then, he's not been able to replicate that success. Yeah.
These guys go get their money contracts. It's
and-
what Ayuk did to the Niners this last year. Although that dude's clearly lost his freaking mind. Crazy.
I think my last thing on this is it also says a lot about DK when he starts talking about, I've recognized that fan from playing in Seattle.
It's a line.
Like,
yeah.
First of all, you should not be recognizing any fans at an away stadium when you don't play for that team, when you are supposed to be focused on the game, and they're all the way over here to where when we watch you punch them in the face, there's no other security, there's no other players, there's no other media, like nothing is over there besides this person. Yet you've been in enough altercations on the sideline as a player to where you can remember other opposing fans and they're harassing, and then also claiming that they say things that they probably didn't do.
Yeah. And like to one extent, I think that fans, like, just because you paid against the same doesn't mean you can say whatever. But this guy like called him by his government name. That was it. At first, when it was, hey, he called me this.
Even if you have a punchable face, like that's what makes it better as a fan. Whereas I look so punchable doing my stupid little press conference here from a foldable like plastic table that like the fact I'm even in this position means that I was so good at heckling this guy within the boundaries of what's probably appropriate. That we're here in this position, and now that team is likely going to miss the postseason.
To get under his skin like that, to call him DeKalen Zach, or whatever his full name is, and that warrant it, just shows how much of a baby this guy is. For real, bring the pacifier mouthpiece back, dude.
And
like,
and even if he,
child.
like, you shouldn't be even hearing that anyways. Like, you should be so locked in between possessions, talking to your coaches, at least being engaged in the game or looking at your Microsoft Surface tablet, whatever. But of all things, this is not a new occurrence for him with this individual. That's to me is like the DK like cherry on top.
And for anybody that would come at us with, you don't know what he said, you don't know what he did. Hey, the Lions have it recorded from almost, they're apparently
there's a
like
bunch
50
of
plus devices.
Yeah.
And there is not one word of this guy dropping a racial comment or anything like.
Yeah.
And they are not revoking his season tickets.
Like, it's over.
Yep. He is a hardcore fan. Dude goes to every game, apparently. He goes to away games plus. So or almost every game.
No, this fan has a reputation for sure.
Yeah. He is known, but they're not taking his season tickets away. So that means he did not say what DK claimed he said. Now, if DK was in the heat of a moment and he thought he heard something, I could understand that. I've misheard a few things in my life. But when your reputation is what it is.
If this guy didn't have any history of this at all, whatever, it's a moment of weakness or whatever, but this is who this guy is.
Yep, it is. Lastly, on Rundown, we're going to hit it really quick, Jameson. Tell us what happened. Why did your team lose this game?
I think there's two pretty easy things that I can take away from
Sorry,
this game.
speaking of the Rams-Falcons.
Yes. Since I'm not wearing Rams gear out of despair today, you might not know who my team is if this is your first time around the block. There's a couple of things from this game. One, the Rams, the one thing that I would have said before this game is that the Rams have lost, like every game that they've lost this season, they've been the better team in, I think was like a pretty easy line to draw. I think in the 49ers loss in overtime against Mac Jones, the Rams were clearly the better team, did not win that game. I think when we lost to the Panthers, we're clearly a better team than the Panthers, lost that game. I think against Seattle, I agree. We were the better team that game, 100%.
We just played better in like when it mattered at one moment.
Yeah, and crazy 2-point conversion luck and all these things happened to line up in a way where the Rams lose that game, but looked dominant in basically every other phase. Same thing in the Eagles game. It takes a ridiculous, like cartoonish amount of blocked things and random things to happen after going up big. You lose that game and you're like, I think the Rams were actually probably the better team, and then that game just got away from them and incredibly unlucky. This is the first game where, yes, we have some injuries, but you should be able to come out and put belt to cheeks against a Falcons team like this, for lack of a better term. This is like We
I like that
lost
PG
10
version
days
of it.
ago.
I like that. I'm gonna use that.
We lost 10 days ago in agonizing fashion in a game where we did really well, and now we got to go get our comeback. And again, we still have something on the line here technically. Like, we know that we can more or less control that 5 seed destiny if we win this game, and we very much should win this game. And we have a little incentive because we have their first round pick. If anything, we save face, even if that draft stock doesn't get any better. Come out here, don't execute on offense, get ran all over on defense, just like no urgency. And it very much felt like, even watching that game, I got the feeling as a fan that for myself, I'm like, I'm done until the postseason. Like, I'll lock back in once we're there. Because at this point, just sim the rest of the season, we're losing this game that we're losing. And it felt like that's how they were playing. That felt like how they felt as well. We're in the playoffs, let's just get there. But you have 2 games, you still need to win both of these games. And then I think the second way that I see this, because I do think that they were definitely not executing, it shot themselves in the foot more times than not. But I do think that there is a difference between what I see with this Rams team, with some of the key positions that are out right now, versus what that team is actually going to look like come playoffs when you have Devontae Adams and you've got your offensive line back in shape. Nothing too season ending on the offensive line, but we've lost a couple of guys so far.
What's the Blake Corum injury? Is that
what's that?
Was the Blake
an ankle?
Okay,
so he was questionable to return. I think if he needed to return,
So it was a low?
he probably could have.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything else today so far about it, but it didn't seem like it was anything that was too severe. But I think, it's a team that was able to stay incredibly healthy all year long. And now you start to see, when you pull a couple of those pieces away, just how much that matters. I wish that Devontae Adams at his age wasn't as important to the offense as he is, but it's very undeniable that he is exactly as important as we think he is. Because I think you see him in that offense, there's just scoring touchdowns every time. We saw it in the Seattle game. Really, one of the reasons that Seattle could even get back into that game is the Rams didn't have that second option to immediately go score touchdowns.
Even with Nakua having a career day.
Exactly. It took a lot of effort and scheming just to get there. And so I think some of the replacements on the offensive line having very untimely penalties at multiple big spots for us, deep balls down the field to Puka, some of the alignment issues that also took big plays off the board. I do feel confident that once those things are back into place in the postseason, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But you still don't want to lose a game like this where there's a little bit of something on the line and you're still a better team without those players, but you got outplayed, clearly. Yeah. So very frustrating, but at least this isn't the full team. That's what I can rest my hat on for now.
Dude, what's so annoying too, though, I'm seeing this just because of the media needs crap talk about people saying that the ceiling is caving in on the Rams. And I'm like, shut up, dude. They're not healthy. They've already locked the playoff spot. It's really just
more embarrassing than anything.
It's embarrassing.
Fell and my face went into the mud and I got stains all over
the
my
world
shirt.
is not. I'm still taking the Rams over most of the teams in the NFC right now. It's probably it's our 3 teams are still the best 3 teams in the NFC. Even with it, and I pray that you guys. I don't want to see you guys again. I would rather not play you guys. I'd rather.
I don't want to play either of you.
The Eagles take care of you, so I don't have to see you because that's who I'm most. Your Rams are still the team I'm most afraid of 100%. So
legit, because if the Bears are the number 2 seed and the Niners just beat them, I feel fine now. I don't want to play the rest of you people. I don't need to re-engage in that conversation. I've been beaten by one of these teams already this year. Obviously, again, injury crap all the time when you have the 49er conversation, but no thanks. I don't want to do that. You realistically lost this game because of throwing the ball to the other team and them running it into the end zone on said play, and then Bijan Robinson one big 70-plus yarder, right? That's the whole game.
Yeah.
Kirk
Cousins didn't beat you.
Nope.
You didn't lose in the way that you shouldn't, if you will.
The deep shots that we did hit on got called back because of stuff. I'm not even going to get into the missed PI at the end of the game.
That was a bad missed call.
And the catch that wasn't a catch.
I for a moment thought that I truly witnessed the single greatest catch I've ever seen.
That would have been on
better than the OBJ catch. I'm not
that is Mount Rushmore. It's Mount Rushmore for sure.
Yeah.
I would remember that one. I would put it for me personally right there with Brandon Lloyd. If you guys remember the toe hit and fall where he catches it literally 4 inches off the ground. That to me was pretty comparable.
Here's the quick fork in the road moment. If that's ruled a catch, we are now about in field goal range, and we put that game into overtime and we win. And now instead of the narrative being like, look what it took for the Rams to beat a very middling Atlanta team, it turns into the last time this happened was 28-3 for Atlanta in the Super Bowl. So we get away with a win, and we don't even have to take any of the like, ooh, that was an ugly win, because holy crap, look at Puka's catch. And also the Falcons are so cursed. This is like 28-3 all over again.
Puka almost had that one in between two defenders in the end zone too. Like,
I know.
It was. I understand. If I was in your shoes, I would have been literally like, but we were. It was like so. I know, dude. We've all had that game for sure.
So again, it's more just frustrating and embarrassing instead of, wow, I feel like
the sky's falling.
We peaked too early and we're doomed. If we had all of our guys and we were losing games like that, it'd be like, okay, we peaked too early.
And by the way, I was gonna say, by the way, no one would
Maybe
care.
that's code.
If this was even week 10, no one cares.
Nope.
Yeah.
This isn't even a conversation. It's a conversation
like,
because it happened this week.
And if you guys beat the Seahawks last week and then lost this one, also wouldn't care. Like, it's because it's like you had the one seed right there, and then it's just like thing after thing.
I think the cope that I can sit with for now is, it's okay, like, we already couldn't get back to the 1 seed. We already couldn't win the division.
Right.
This is more just annoying than anything because we're missing guys, and now I have to, if I do listen to all of my favorite shows, sports shows in the week, now I have to hear them talk about this. So
Sky's falling.
It's more annoying. Can I skip to the playoffs where we're whole again?
You're at least with us, because we have to look at it in this compartmentalized manner. I think you're talking to two guys that would sit here and still say, Grant and I both, you have an MVP quarterback, you have an incredible defensive front that could really use a little help on the back end at times.
Missing Quentin Lake very badly this second half of the season since his injury.
And if you don't draft a linebacker, by the way, like the first,
I would really love to draft a corner, honestly.
Yeah.
That is what gives me like
diarrhea
as I watch some of these games.
Ron Diggs became available today. I don't know if you're interested, but
I think I'm good. That's the exact kind of corner that we already deal with right now.
To be fair, though, I had to watch Chase Lucas take snaps, so I'd take Diggs over that all day.
At least he might get an interception.
Yeah,
He might give up a bazillion yards, but you might get a turnover.
Sure. At least I have safeties that can go murder people when he misses, so there's that. But no, there's a few things you could use. But I would just say, dude, like in the compartmentalized sense, this is still an incredibly dangerous team. If Corum and Adams are on the field as early as this next week, which I've heard rumor that Adams might, just because they have to get this.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Sean McVay post game, but he was asked about.
They're all playing.
They're playing. Like, he was not mincing any words with that. He looked pissed off. He's like, we're playing.
I think too, if Devontae can't, if he can play, then yeah, because you don't want his first game back after having 3 weeks off to be in the playoffs. You would like him to at least be up to game speed.
I would want him to rest. It's the freaking Cardinals, like whatever. Even if we somehow lose to the Cardinals, it doesn't make our stock any better or worse.
But if they can get up, if Devonta plays, let's say 15 snaps, all on the right side of the 50-yard line, or in the red zone, let's just say he does, and that's where he plays, and you guys are seeing the same scoreboard that the Falcons did at halftime, he's not playing the second half, and then you're good. He came out, ran a few routes, did the thing. Yep. I can guarantee you this: he ain't coming out and blocking this next week.
We're not going to send him downfield because that's where he pulled up with his hammy, anyways.
Yep, yeah, I think he's going to be short field and underneath. Most likely work the sideline, do the little things that he does to get you guys first downs and touchdowns, and that makes a lot of sense. So it'd be interesting to see him out. And if Blake Corum's even a little bit ready to go, I think he's going to go. And man, he has been a revelation as your second option there in the backfield. We're going to jump into our playoff seeding conversation. I know Jameson's probably got a jet. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll put my pick'ems down below. I got to split for the sake of time, but
yep.
Yeah, we'll see. I still feel pretty good about Rams overall. And before I leave, before you guys start pick'em, unfortunately, it's going to be a battle for second place again this year. So best of luck to however this goes. I'll put mine in so it's in there for conversation's sake. But
Mike,
we'll see. Mike with a perfect week to really just put the dagger right in our backs.
It's impossible.
None of us are surprised, though. It's annoying. If he would just show up and put his picks in, we could do that thing that everybody else on the internet does where they just copy another guy's picks and put them in.
We just have him go first every time.
Seriously. Every stinking time. And then deny.
See, the problem with our snake is that he goes last like two of the time. So
that's it. Mike is leading the conversation.
There we go.
Next year for
there we go.
He is leading.
Or every week you just realign. You realign
the little snake order. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a draft thing. It's like a fantasy draft.
Yeah. Sucks.
We'll figure that out. I'm going to chalk it up to that, even though Mike knows so much ball. I'm going to chalk it up to that.
All right. We will let you jet Cardinals by 1 million.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Getting into the playoff picture, we've been talking around it the whole episode a little bit. I just want to dive into it. We're going to list out the current 1 through 7 and then options here in terms of what happens this week just a little bit. Starting in the AFC, the Broncos have locked it in. They're in the playoffs. There is a fight for the 1 seed here, but the team that they're playing, the Chargers, has nothing to gain, and they are going to sit Herbert. They've already announced that. So I actually feel pretty confident Denver is going to rest right into that 1 scenario. I think they're going to play guys up to the point in which
what is the scenario for the Patriots to get it? Like is it Broncos just lose?
Yeah, Broncos have to lose. They have to win.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty locked.
I think so.
A little different. The Chargers basically are just like, hey, we know what our problem is. We got to get healthy, and we can't move from where we are.
I mean, Herbert's been battling through a whole bunch of crap, like broken arm, a hand, or whatever. Yeah, dude. Yeah, if you got that 5 spot, you're playing either the Ravens or the Steelers. You feel good about your chances there to play another week. Yep.
They're going to bring up practice squad offensive line this week.
Oh, 100%.
Hampton's going to sit most likely, and they might get him a few reps early in this game, but he's not going to play a ton. And they're going to make sure they've got Derwin and everybody else ready to go for the first round of the playoffs. So Broncos got that 1. That means that most likely the Pats, Jaguars are going to stay at that 2-3 scenario. That's what I have in my head. I think everybody wins this week based on schedule and what's going on. Those could swap. Jags could end up in the 2. But again, I don't think they want to. I think the Jags would like to stay in the 3 because no one wants to play the Texans.
Well, especially for them in the division, like playing a division opponent 3 times in a season is always tough. That is, you never want to be in that spot.
Yeah, I will say, though, I think of the teams that have a shot to take out the Texans in the first round, the Jaguars coming at the Texans with the way they ball hawk, they could really hose CJ. And because if you prone to certain things.
Yeah, because the way that you can beat this is if you can get the short field and it's less and just shrink that for the defense to defend.
Yep.
That's your best case scenario. Now, does that probably happen? I don't know because no team has been able to do that, but that's probably the formula.
Yeah.
Is short field.
But I like the Jags just because of their ability to take the ball away if that does happen. But the seeding here, I do think that it stays where it is. Based on schedule and matchups, it makes the most sense that it stays Broncos 1, Patriots 2, Jaguars 3. Then in the 4 is where it gets interesting. You have the Steelers playing the Ravens. This is just an extra playoff game. And my bad, is this game in Pittsburgh or I don't have that.
I don't know.
Bad. Normally, we got it in the pick'em. Here it is.
Ravens at Steelers.
Steelers. Okay. So I actually think that makes this even more competitive. I think if it was in Baltimore, it could be a runaway. Just shooting it straight. Like, I really do. And that's not me trying to be punny with Derrick Henry there. Steelers, Ravens, extra playoff game. That is for the 4 seed, and one of those 2 teams gets it, and the other one is out.
And that coach is probably gone, whichever one that is. I'm
strong.
I'm really liking that. I'm not liking it because I don't want guys to get fired, but yes.
Yeah, we've been calling for it. We see it as a total possibility. Then we get down to the 5-6 scenario. These teams can change places, the Chargers and the Bills. They can switch spots here, is my understanding. Nobody's locked into the 5 and the 6. They could flip-flop based on what happens here. So the Bills win, Chargers lose, which actually could really be likely with the Chargers sitting. Then they can switch spots and take that 5. That would mean that the Bills would be playing the winner of the Steelers-Ravens game in our scenarios here, and the Jaguars would be playing the Chargers. All of those games I like. That's fun.
It'd be good matchups. The Jaguars did smoke the Chargers, but the Chargers were very injured at the time.
Yep.
But yeah.
Could be an interesting one. But yeah, I think those are going to be great matchups when you just look top to bottom at the fun of the first round. But that is the AFC. When you go over to the NFC side, currently the Seahawks are in the 1 seed.
Gonna stay there, baby. Let's go.
Their matchup against the 49ers in Santa Clara this week will determine the 1 seed. Again, an extra playoff game, if you will, for all of us viewing. That game's happening Saturday night at 5 o'clock Pacific. The winner takes the 1, then it gets muddy. If the
I think-
Seahawks, so I'll take the Seahawks loss first. If the Seahawks lose and the Rams win, the Seahawks just drop to the 5, the Rams stay in the 6.
Because we have the tiebreaker.
Have the
Yeah.
tiebreaker. If the 49ers lose, then the Rams win, then that puts the 49ers down to the 6, the Rams up to the 5, and then we go from there. If the Rams lose, they simply just stay in the 6, and either the Seahawks or the 49ers ends up in the 5 or the 1, depending on the outcome of their game.
Yeah, the 7th seed is locked up in the NFC. It is Packers 100%. They can't. Yeah.
Yep. In the 2-3 scenario, outcomes of games will determine Bears and Eagles. Those are the only ones that can achieve those at this point, because you have to have the next highest division winner in terms of win-loss. So the Eagles did keep themselves in contention for the 2 seed with the win over the Bills this week, but they'll need a Bears loss to move up. So otherwise, that's going to be your 1, 2, 3 is the winner of the Seahawks 49ers game, and then the Bears and the Eagles. In the 4, this gets messy as crud. So if the Panthers or the Bucks win, the Panthers or the Bucks, again, extra playoff game, are the division champ, they lock the 4 seed. Except
because the Falcons won.
Because the Falcons won last night. If they beat the Saints this week, regardless of what happens with the Bucks, if the Bucks were to win, because they beat the Saints, if they beat the Saints, it will kick the Bucks out and hose the tiebreaker. The Panthers would be in with a loss. So the Panthers either need to win or have the Falcons win to guarantee their spot.
Yeah, it was originally the way that started before Monday Night Game. It was a win and you're in for the Bucks. That was all they needed. But yeah, I'm liking the Panthers. The Panthers having 2 opportunities essentially to get in that 4 seed. You like that a whole lot more than you do the Bucks needing a win and something else.
They're at a 72% make the playoff
Panthers
scenario here. Yeah, that's their percentage according to Vegas right now, 72%. So yeah. I do too. I like the Panthers, and honestly, I think it's a more fun team to watch right now. The Bucks
frisky,
are so
man.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah,
that's not fun.
Yeah, but the Panthers are frisky. Like they can score 30 points on you, so shockingly, randomly at times. So
it'll really depend on the health of that run game and what they can do, because Bryce is not going to beat you down.
But
he can get it with the play action.
For sure.
That's his game.
Yeah, dude, it's interesting, but pretty much it's the 4 seed in the AFC to watch, and then the 1 and the 5 as well. That's other than that, the AFC I think is pretty much the Bills can swap, but that's about it.
Yeah, and so we're seeing a lot of it come together, but these extra playoff games are going to make this weekend super intense. We're going to get to those here in just a second in our pick'em, because we've got all the extras in there, and then we've got the other ones that matter, if you will, in our pick'em. But when we look at what's happened with the playoff teams, we officially have a new record for 11-plus win teams in the NFL. We have 11 of them this year. That high-low has been crazy. We talked about 2/3 of the way through the season, we were talking about how the middle was getting middler, that it was just so muddy, and you couldn't see what good was and what bad was. And really, that last third of the season, you finally saw true colors come out. And we talked about how in November, that's when it all starts to go. And if you watch the NFL, that's every single year. You start to see who the cream of the crop is as soon as you get in November. And then you get to this last third of the season, those last 6 games-ish, that really start to come out around Thanksgiving. And you go, oh, that team is not what we thought they were. Or that team suffers a devastating injury, and now they can't.
I.e. the Packers. That's the main one.
The Colts. Don't forget, the Colts were 7-0?
7-1.
7-1, my bad. 7-1 to start the season. They're not a playoff team. Worst second half. They literally Jekyll and Hyde their season, went 7-1, then went 1-7. Shout out to Phillip Rivers for trying his very best. Dear Lord, legend. And that's probably the last time we'll mention it. But both the conferences going in have coveted 1 seed and home field up for grabs here. We got to mention that when you talk about that 1 seed and the importance of it, I don't think when we were looking at these teams that there is a team that needs it more than the 49ers. And I think that's pretty clear based on the injuries that have occurred to that team. They need to get whole to be successful. Also, if the Niners get it,
they don't have to leave home. Yep.
Super Bowl's in Santa Clara. They don't have to leave. This is probably, as a 49er fan, outside of the playoffs and Super Bowl, which are way more important, this is probably the most important regular season game that I can remember as a fan. I'm a 30-plus year fan of this team and a diehard, and I don't remember a bigger regular season game than this one. So it's a huge week, and it's awesome that we've seen all of these games come to this, and that there's still this incredible level of importance going into the playoffs.
Does it feel 2013, 2014 a little bit again? These two teams, like, they kind of dominated the early 2010s for, like, in some NFC championships. Like, it feels like that again, which I know we've talked about. Like, when these two teams hate each other, I feel like it's good football.
It is.
Like when it was Harbaugh and Carroll, because they hated each other in college and followed their way here. The drama with that, it feels right. I don't know.
The hate is good.
Yeah.
The hate is good. And
these teams hate each other. It's underrated a little bit because I think the Seahawks have been in the rebuild, but so some people have forgotten. But this is a kind of an underrated rivalry.
It's very obvious in those years that you mentioned. Obviously, the Seahawks with the upper hand of that rivalry. Niners have put the Seahawks season to bed a couple of times here in more recent years. Neither team achieving the pinnacle of success, though the playoffs have been had several times over. It absolutely is great. Like, I grew up watching the Steelers and the Ravens going at it as a young adult. Like, that was a huge matchup. Both teams getting their Super Bowls, but hating each other's guts every single year. That one was a lot of fun to watch. And casually, I know we say it, we have a lot of Steelers hate this year, but casually, because of Troy Polamalu, I was definitely a Steeler fan for many years. I loved watching them. James Harrison, the scariest person maybe that ever lived. Dear Lord. But no, I love rivalry, and we're to it. We're to that point of the rivalry now matters. Dude, can you just imagine if we have to see each other in the NFC Championship, which that has happened before in recent history.
Yep.
We have to see each other in that game in particular. Pins and needles. That is the only way I can describe it. I have made sure I'm home for all of the playoff games this year.
Dude, I don't want to see the Rams or the Niners a third time, like, in the season. I just hate that. Like, it's just, but it's how it be.
Never good.
That's how it be.
You never know what's going to happen. But the nice part should be for you guys, okay? If this goes 1-1, you guys beat us this week. If this goes 1-1, that's where it gets crazy. As a Niner fan, you don't want to see that team for the third time. That never goes good in the NFL when you have to do that. If you beat them twice, you don't want to see them the third time in the playoffs because it usually is what gets you.
There's a lot of
that linchpin.
There's that what do they call it? Like the whiteboard material or whatever. There's some more like, little added extra there.
All right, before we get to the pick'em,
we'll save that one.
Over under on the amount of personal fouls called in our game this week. How many times does the play go a little extra? Some little shoving. If I'm just going over under on the personal fouls, I'd pick 3. That would be the number.
That'd be the number to pick over under.
Yep. I did, because we'd probably both say, hey, it's likely to be at 3.
Yeah. One of us is going to get it twice. One of us will get it once.
Yeah.
That's probably how
what it feels like. I feel like we have too good at coaching staffs to, like, really let it get out of hand.
Yeah.
But Lenore might punch somebody. Yeah. He's dumb at times, but he also loves ticking your team off. Jennings is going to get in an altercation. That's going to happen.
Yeah, it'd be Witherspoon. He's the one that's got the edge.
Witherspoon and Jennings this week is going to be a thing.
He's got the edge. DeMarcus Lawrence has got a little edge to him too on the field.
Our O-line really doesn't though.
Okay.
Like, most of our O-line's pretty chill. Brendel's like
Trent does.
Trent will get after you, but if Trent's playing,
if he is,
Lawrence isn't going to be over the top of Trent. They're not going to see each other that much. That interior is pretty young too.
This is funny. I think you have speak to text on the Google Doc because I'm looking at it and it is typing out stuff as you're talking.
That is absolutely hilarious. Wow, what a page.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll probably go at 3. Yeah. I'll take the over, especially if it's close. And teams, they start getting a little tense.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, someone's down by 3, or down by a score maybe.
Dude, I'll go with you. I actually think you're right there. I think you got to take the over, just knowing what this game means. If it was a regular season, I think I'd take under.
Yeah.
But this one just matters more because it's not Like, I'm just saying that out loud. I recognize that this is the 17th game of the year and it's technically part of the regular season, but it's not the regular season anymore. For us, it starts now.
Yep.
We mentioned our pick'em a couple times over because you and I are frustrated that we cannot freaking catch up.
I made a comeback to make it interesting. I was down, and I've had 3 good weeks, like 4. I think I went 4-1 last 3 weeks to make it interesting.
Oh, we got to edit one on here. I'm not doing the Chargers Broncos, bro, because we're all just going to pick the Broncos.
I'll find one.
Okay. So this week I'll always do 5. Last week Grant was 4-1, I was 3-2, Jameson was 4-1, and Mike was 5-0. So that put us into this spot where Grant is 50-35, I am 51-34, Jameson is 52-33, and Mike won already. He is 59-26. If you want to make a lot of money week to week, just follow Mike Connor's picks here on Sportsify. If you just want to pick straight up winners, and Mike can make your Christmas pretty good in 2026 if you want him to. That's what he does.
Okay, I'll be honest though. There's not a lot of good ones here.
Yeah. Let's look at
Browns
inconsequential. What's
that?
Browns
Bengals?
Nope. Bengals are going to kill them, and we're all going to pick the Bengals.
Cowboys Giants? It's inconsequential.
Yeah, it's inconsequential. I think I don't know. I was looking at this too. There was one more.
Lions Bears?
I like that.
That's probably because otherwise it's like Jets Bills, Commanders Eagles, Rams Cardinals, Chiefs Raiders with they're on their 3rd string quarterback.
Oh my gosh, that's fun. Let's do that.
Okay.
That's fun.
Okay.
Because we have no idea what the Chiefs are going to be this week, and the Raiders suck. Also, the Raiders are sitting Max Crosby this week, which he was not happy about at all because apparently he does need a knee cleanup surgery.
Hey, Pete Carroll, send him to Seattle.
Hey, Pete Carroll, I would love to see him wearing red and gold next year, offsetting Bosa with all that cap money we got.
Come on, Pete, do your team a solid.
Yeah, we just got rid of the Brandon Ayuk contract. We're reworking Trent. We got space. Bring it.
That's what the Raiders should do. Just on that little tangent, they should trade him and get a haul because why do you need them? They're talentless. They have nothing on their roster. Like you can get a 1st and a 3rd, maybe a 1st and a 2nd for him, and
dude, I think he's Micah Parsons.
You think he's that? Because he's older though. That's my thing. He's older than Micah Parsons.
Yeah, but I think he's real close. I think there obviously you can justify it. Plus, he already has the contract with Micah. You had to sign it.
That's true.
So,
that's what they should
has leverage for.
That's what they should do. They should absolutely. Actually, I think that they should trade their first overall pick, and I think they should trade Max Crosby and just collect. Because what does Mendoza do for your team? Really?
What does Moore do for your team?
Or more.
Depending on what those guys choose. But I know taking a quarterback at 1 for this team right now makes no sense. It really doesn't. You already have to pay a guy $30 million next year, and you're going to be tanked with another $5 to $7 million in that quarterback room.
You do what the Bears do. You trade that one away, and you draft your quarterback next year.
I would love that. And you know who could go and take it and find their guy is the Jets.
Yep.
Jets have the capital to make that trade and make it go. That'd be really interesting.
Anyway,
all right,
let's get this started. So we've got the first one. We've got the Falcons at the Saints. I will go here. Again, this game does matter because it dictates the outcome of the Panthers Buccaneers a little bit. I'm gonna take the Falcons. They're like, man, the Falcons are thinking, what if they could have just figured it out a little bit, they could have had a chance a little earlier because they're playing actually pretty decent ball right now. Bijan Robinson is insane. He's like the 2nd or 3rd best running back, top 3 running back in the league probably right now. He's insane. And that defense is actually coming along. That pass rush is legit.
Which, man, think about what we were saying 2 years ago about that pass rush.
Yep.
It was a little worse than the league.
And they got a moral victory here, and I think that they're riding high a little bit. You saw how much it meant to that team.
Yeah.
The Rams, they're playing for pride. And that is something for some of these teams.
Yeah, dude. They're making sure that Kirk Cousins makes $10 million as a backup somewhere next year, plus whatever the Falcons end up giving him to go away. But I don't hate that pick either. And I really think they like the idea of playing spoiler for a division or against a division team.
It's all you got at this point.
Helps one other one, but I think it's pretty funny. And I think they will too. And Bijan is playing out of his mind right now, as good as he's already been. That was a game to remember this last week for him. I loved how he played. So I'm going to take the Falcons as well.
All right. Jameson took the Saints. And also, again, like you said last couple weeks, Saints playing really good. Shout out to Kellen Moore. But Jameson took the Saints. Mike took the Falcons.
Jameson taking the Saints when we don't. Hilarious.
That's crazy. So we'll have to get rid of the second pick because it was Chargers Broncos. But so then we'll lead this off. Matt, Chiefs at the Raiders. This may be the toilet bowl of all toilet bowls because you got a third string in the Chiefs quarterback, second string, whoever's behind Geno Smith, who is probably honestly a fifth string somewhere else at this point.
Yeah, Raiders in a full tank here. I don't even know that Genty's going to play much, and that's saying something. I think that the Chiefs could win this with a dude off the freaking street. That's how bad the Raiders are, and I think that's how bad they want to be.
Can they even lose this first round pick, like the first overall pick?
I don't know. I did not look that up because I did not care enough. But no, I mean, I think it's 2s and 3s, yeah. So maybe
it was the first round or the number one pick bowl was last week against the Giants, and they lost it. So I don't know if they can. I think I'm gonna go Chiefs. You know what? No, I can't win, so I'm gonna pick the Las Vegas Seahawks. Just as maybe it's Pete Carroll's maybe last game as a head coach. Tyler Lockett, Jamal Adams are there. Who knows if they're even playing? And I got to go with my boy Pete Carroll as just the last little hoorah, maybe his last game ever as a head coach. So I'm going to pick the Raiders here for this one. Moving on, Panthers at Bucks. Panthers. Yeah.
Sucks. Panthers.
The Panthers played horrible this past Sunday, and I'm still picking the Panthers. That's how little faith I have in the Bucks.
Yep. The Bucks just can't win games, and there's nothing out there that says they can. They haven't won anything of consequence since October.
Since they beat the Seahawks, pretty much.
Yep. And remember, they beat the Seahawks and the 49ers in October.
Yeah, that was it.
And that was the end of their season.
That sounds like a hilarious statement to say nowadays.
Yep.
Man, the NFL comes at you fast, man.
Dude, those last 2 months matter a ton, and that's wild to say out loud. But yeah, I'm just going Panthers. We'll keep it simple.
Yeah, and everybody else, Jameson and Mike both went Panthers. Then we got a playoff game, Ravens at the Steelers. We alluded to it. I think the Ravens will win.
I think the squad's a sweep because Jameson and Mike took the Ravens as well. I agree. I think
you're running out Adam Thielen, Scotty Mills, Washington. Was it Parker Washington or whatever?
Yeah, Darnell Washington, dude, broken arm. That sucked.
Yeah, dude. That's not fun. Yeah, I hope that the Ravens win because the Steelers tanking their season to not get that sack record to me is just so, idiotic to me, and it pisses me off to a weird level. I'm just so annoyed about it. But glad it's not my team. Go Purple, Ravens flock or whatever their thing is. Okay, here it is. Seahawks at the 49ers for the 1 seed for the best division in football. Second place is not a bad prize either, though. You play probably the Panthers the next week.
Here's the thing: I would love to reserve the right to lean because of George Kittle and because of Trent Williams. I would love to reserve the right because if they're both not playing, as a 49er fan, I would feel good. But here's the issue: the Niners keep winning despite whoever puts on a jersey on Sunday.
Yeah,
it has not mattered. I'm gonna make my pick based on 2 things. One is that Sam Darnold has not done well in big games. That's just being honest. I think that's pretty clear. It's not that he can't, not that we don't think he can, but he hasn't proven it yet. Also, Brock Purdy is terrifying right now. He is playing the best football of his career, and that's just a no doubt. You can't look at it any other way. There's no 3-game stretch where he has played like he has played the last 3 weeks. And I just love the confidence that he has in how he's playing. I'm going to take the Niners. Do I feel good about it? No, not at all. Not even like a little bit. I've picked the Niners a lot on this show because they are my favorite team as a part of it, but also not hard to pick your favorite team when every other year they're pulling out double-digit wins and vying for depth or a deep playoff run and or a Super Bowl appearance at least in some of those. So I'm going to take the Niners, but I don't feel good, dude. I'm just doing it basically based on Brock and how that's gone and the fact that Darnold hasn't been the guy yet. And I think it's just recent evidence.
Yeah. I'm gonna take my guys. I'm taking the Seahawks here mainly because I was thinking about this. I was doing a late night drive last night back home. I don't think there's a single player on the defense for the Niners that I would take over as it stands right now with who they have that I would take over the Seahawks right now. I would take our front seven. I would take our linebackers right now, our safeties.
Are you talking like from a unit standpoint?
Yeah, I'm talking even just like players, like who I would take. Like if I could take defensive players, like a draft of who they have right now, who the Seahawks have right now, I don't know that I'm taking anyone from the Niners.
You'd take Lenore.
Over Witherspoon? I don't think so.
Whoever your other corner is, you'd take him over. Doesn't matter.
Reek Woolen, he's played a lot better lately after a rough month.
If you go
Maybe
look at
Lenore.
if you go look at Lenore's numbers, they alluded to it Sunday night. You don't throw on that half of the field, like period. Caleb Williams didn't even try.
Yeah.
DJ Moore had.
Yeah. So that's one. There's still 10 other guys. That defense is, to me, they can't rush, and that secondary is, aside from Lenore's side, I'm not scared. Even like with Sam Darnold, like the thing with like when the Rams, what they were able to do against Sam Darnold is hurry him and rush him. The Niners can't rush the pass at all. And so I go that we have a top 10 offensive line. We've got a top, I think it's 7 or 8th offense in general. We have a top 3 defense in the league. Our special teams unit is the best. Like we are a more complete team right now. And our margin of error is large, even with Sam Darnold. And he did win that game against the Rams. He was absolutely dynamite when he needed to be. And I think you got to play him like a gunslinger a little bit. To me, this Seahawks team to me feels eerily the Niners with Jimmy Garoppolo, almost like a team that, can win. And I think Sam Darnold is more talented of a thrower than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Ooh, I'd fight that.
No, he's more talented.
Touchdown interception ratio.
Talent.
Yards.
I'm saying
Completion
talent.
percentage.
I'm saying
Wins.
talent. Okay. Jimmy Garoppolo has played longer than Sam Darnold has. I'm saying talent. Sam Darnold is absolutely more talented than
in terms of number of games. I think started in the NFL. They're probably pretty close.
He's only
Garoppolo's been sitting a few years.
He has now. That's true.
Yeah.
But also, okay, Sam Darnold was on the Jets and the Panthers when. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh no, 100 on that. I understand. Kevin
I'm saying
him.
in terms of athletic ability and talent, I absolutely think that Sam Darnold is more talented than Jimmy Garoppolo.
I disagree.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying that he's a better quarterback. I'm saying he's more talented. I think talent is one thing. And I think that this Seahawks team is more complete than the Niners. And Sam Darnold does not have to throw it for 5 touchdowns to win this game. He can throw two interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and win the game. Absolutely, because that defense is so good. And yeah, I'm taking my Seahawks. They're a more complete team at this moment. Yes, the Niners offense is better than the Seahawks. Absolutely. But the Seahawks still have yet to allow a 100-yard rusher, still, all season. So I think that's very doable. They stopped Christian McCaffrey rushing in week 1. And to me, like people say, oh, the Niners beat him week 1. I'm like, yeah, it's week 1, dude. It was a 17-14 win. And also Nick Bosa isn't on the field to win that
13,
game for him.
Yeah.
So that offense was still coming together. That offense is much better now. That defense is much better now than it was 17 weeks ago. Yeah, sure. I'm going to take my Seahawks.
Sure. I think the pushback overall is when you look at blue chips, and we have this conversation a lot because we talked about the Broncos and we're like, hey, they don't have the blue chips to compete. They don't have those different guys at different levels. If you were going to look at Brock, is he on the outer edge of blue chip? Yeah, he's definitely in the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, no matter how you slice it. A lot of people are going to put him in that 5 to 7 range. When you look at his efficiency and then his playmaking ability on top of that, I think that's pretty clear. Niners have the better quarterback. Niners have the better tight end room. Niners have the better.
AJ Brown is pretty underrated. I'm going to say
it. No argument. But
yeah.
Still,
no, I agree.
Overall, they got the better tight end room. They have the better running back room. I'm just gonna CMC is a different monster. And when you look at it, I think it's 2 very good football teams on a full-on collision course. The Niners are not the special teams unit that they have been the last 2 years. They are much improved. Piñeiro's not missing anything. Sky Moore is a revelation for the Niners. By the way, is Shaheed playing?
I think so. He had a concussion, but they said it's not as severe as they thought. So we'll see.
So he's in protocol right now, though.
He's in protocol. It's up to the league to determine that. It's not really in their hands. So, but it's not as severe as they thought. So
Niners are in that same boat with Upton Stout, the rookie nickel corner. Yeah, he's in protocol too. But yeah, I think you just go unit to unit. It's really close. And the thing that has separated, I think, the Niners and the Seahawks at all, if you're just going to look at the up down of the season, is that the Seahawks have remained healthy through the majority of the year.
They're pretty much as the healthiest they can be. Like, there's no Kobe Bryant, one of our safeties, but we've got insane safety depth, so I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah, and you look at what the Niners have done, and they've surprised people by getting to where they've gotten to with what they have, and they're still dealing with it. And I think you can make the appeal that a whole team is better than an injured team, but we've been saying that for so long, have taken the opposing view on the Niners as a collective we have, and we have heard pundits all across every major network do the same thing. I can't tell you how many Niners games I watched this year where the majority of the picks were for the other team in terms of the straight up pick 'em. So it's going to be so crazy to watch. This is exactly what we sign up for. This is what we're hoping for. We don't know. Like, at the end of the day, we believe, but we don't know. And I think that's really where this one's going to sit.
I have the ultimate stat for you. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
In 2005, we got a new pope. The Seahawks won 13 games, and they went to the Super Bowl. In 2013, the Seahawks got a new pope, won 13 games, and won the Super Bowl. And this year, the Seahawks have won at least 13 games, and we got a new pope. History is on our side.
Oh, my God.
There we go. The ultimate stat. No other stat matters. That is it. I saw that this week, and I was like, there's no way that's real. But sure enough, it was.
I want to give you one, by the way. I'm going to go through my memes really quick to close out the episode. And before I do that, shout out to Mike, who won the A-League this week. Grant and I made the playoffs. Didn't get it done, either of us, but Mike won our A-League. And I got a text message group this morning, by the way, from some individuals that we are friends with. Our good friend, Senior Mr. E, made it into the A-League today.
Okay.
Along with last name starts with O.
Okay.
They were the championship game in the B League, and they were all very excited. And so they roped in Junior Eno into a text conversation with me, and you will appreciate my response to them being very excited about getting in there. I almost forgot to mention this today. Senior believes he firmly is supposed to be in the A-League and that finally he is where he belongs. So I said to the both of them, congrats and welcome to the hardest part, staying here. Over 17 years, 54 people have played in this league, and I am the only one who has never left. I have won it 7 times and never once missed the playoffs. The challenge is before you all. Get me booted. I dare you. And of course, Grant's heard me say this. I say this to everybody that comes in the league. I hope you lose every week by 1 million, and I wish you the worst of luck. But I want to give Mike shout out because that is, as Grant and I have experienced it, it is the toughest thing to do in fantasy football. It's our 3-tier a relegation league that I started a long time ago, and it sucks to try and win it.
I've been in the B. This is my first year in the A League. I've been in the B League pretty much ever since. Gotten close, but I'm staying at least.
It's tough to do just to stick around. So get
in the dance, as they say. Just get in the dance. You never know what happens.
You never know. I'm usually pretty confident that I know what's going to happen for myself, but it is what I dare everybody to do. I take on 29 people every single year, and once again, bring it.
Dude, I'm so mad. I could have won. The next week after I beat you, I scored 170 points. I totally could have won. That's how.
And I'm so mad at myself for not starting Jalen Warren when it mattered. Kills
that's how it goes. That's fantasy football, man.
It is.
What ifs? The what ifs.
But I was just going to run through it. Victory formation in a loss got to be one of the saddest ways to go out. The Panthers?
Yeah, dude.
Taking a knee down 27-10 on 4th and 9 with 42 seconds left. Don't see that very often in the NFL.
Yeah, Sam Darnold was shocked to go back on the field. Yeah, he was like, wait, what? Yeah.
It was weird. By the way, the Bears, rando stat of the week, are 0-4 when Caleb Williams throws for 305-plus yards.
Of course.
The run game is the key.
Yep.
1 year ago this next week, Aaron Glenn declines to interview with the Patriots. Oops.
Oh, that
I
was-
think he didn't do it because he knew what was going to happen. But
Oh yeah, everybody did.
this was my favorite one from NFL memes this week. By the way, if you don't follow NFL memes, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Elite.
Have a great time with this account. On the Bills' 2-point conversion, if the Bills were actually smart, they would have thrown a slightly backwards pass off a defender's helmet and had James Cook pick it up in the end zone to win the game.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, that was funny.
And then someone said Phillip Rivers has more kids than the entire Somali daycare system in Minneapolis.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's undefeated. It's undefeated.
And
It's
then,
a-
yeah,
It's
Like-
almost like the NFL memes account is actually what educates me on what's going on in the world.
yes.
I'm like, oh, this is okay.
What's
this is
what's the Somali daycare system? What's going on with that?
Oh, thanks
I need to
NFL
look
memes.
that up and get informed. That's the story of the week, by the way. That's a story that gives. We don't talk about stuff like that on this show, though. By the way, I want to reiterate something for Jameson, and this is it for me. Jameson made a certain point about the Broncos and talked about how the Texans are what the Broncos wish they were. The Broncos this year have played the Bengals without Joe Burrow, the Texans without Stroud, Washington without Daniels, Kansas City without Mahomes, and the Chargers without Herbert. All of those games they obviously won. I saw that come up and I went, that's pretty stinking valid. I can throw out the Washington with Daniels one because meh, they sucked anyway. But like the rest of it, Stroud with the Texans is different. Like him in there, it's different. Undeniable with Burrow. Their defense learned how to play defense after he came back. I don't know how that works, but that quarterback conversation needs to be really loud in terms of how it impacts the teams in their win-loss. Like when you look at the Broncos, there's a false bottom there. We've been saying it for weeks. It's going to come up at some point because when Nix is not having to beat elite quarterbacks,
Believe me,
he gets it. And
I got
when
the-
playoffs,
I got the clips in the chamber ready to go.
oh, dude, I cannot wait until whatever that game is where we get to say I told you so really loud because those blue chip players do not exist for the Broncos the way that they do on other teams because they don't have a single blue chip player on offense.
Nope.
Yeah. We'll be here for the Bronco hate. To all the Bears fans that came after me about 6 weeks
Oh
ago.
yeah.
Hi. How you doing?
Forgot about that.
Told you, gotcha. That one was really fun for me. But dude, I'll just say it one last time. Cannot wait for this weekend. It's going to be electric. Man, lock into your chairs for about 48 hours straight. Just absorb all that you can. By the way, college football playoffs this week. This is football heaven. The last week of the regular season, and we get the college football playoff. Thank you, football guys.
It helps you get over the Christmas blues, as they say. It helps.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is Christmas.
That's fair. That's
all
fair.
of you
know
people
what I'm
put up
talking about.
trees and like do all this other crud. I'm here for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like in the happiest place on earth, but I'm gonna be locked in watching some football games. And
You're gonna go to Disney World and be like, "This is better."
Yeah. Hey, at
Sorry.
least I'll be able to bear the long lines. I'll have plenty of stuff to watch. But dude, I'm bringing like 12 million portable chargers so I can watch all the games and not miss a single thing. So
Well, we cannot wait to have you in line to like Space Mountain or Tron or whatever you got going on next week. What park are you in Tuesday?
not Tuesday.
Oh no, that's your off day, right?
That's my off day, so we're gonna record. I'll be able to record. On Saturday will be in Animal Kingdom, which is when the Seahawks Niners play.
Yep.
But the
That's
park
fine.
closes at 8 and the game starts at 8, so I'll be able to watch most of it
Oh, that's true. You got late.
because it's
Yeah.
Eastern time. So
So you'll probably be on one last ride on
Yeah.
Avatar.
I'll probably be able to catch most of the second half, like in my Airbnb or whatever.
Yeah. But somebody else is driving. You don't care.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
you're just gonna be sitting on there on your phone. Please don't talk to me.
Yeah,
I
my
don't have a
family
daughter for the next 3 hours. I know how that goes.
my family's pissed that I'm gonna be wearing my Seahawks gear in Disneyland. They're like, you should be wearing Disney stuff. And I'm like, I'm wearing this. What are you talking about? I'm
Dude.
not. I don't care.
Disney people.
Yeah.
What are those human beings? I've never been to 3 different Disney parks in 11 months. That's not
Nope.
happened.
Yeah.
Dude, I hope you have a great vacation.
Yep.
We're all about it. Hope everybody's having great holidays. And regardless, you are about to have the actual Christmas, which again is week 18 of the NFL
Let's go.
season, college football playoffs. Lock in, everybody. And for the love of all things, be safe on New Year's. Be good to you and yours. And we will see you next week to recap it all.